Hey gang, we're sitting here at my kitchen table today because we're going to do a test and review of a new product that was sent to me. And that's this device here. This is the Lexin MTX helmet communicator, motorcycle helmet communicator. Now this is an all-new unit for Lexin. They just came out with this just before the Christmas holidays here. And it has, upgraded audio on it, an upgraded battery life, and also it now comes with mesh communication. So it's now up on par with, well, all of the other big guys on the market. But before we begin looking at that new Lexin unit, I have to come clean with you because everybody who's watched my channel for any length of time knows that I have been a long-time CURTO user. And my current communicator is this. This is the latest and greatest from CURTO, the PackTalk Edge. And this is just a fantastic unit. If not the best on the market, definitely one of the best on the market. Comes with JBL sound, and it's really, really good. So, best I've ever had. And now, these things no longer have an antenna, which is, again, really cool as well. You don't have to worry about that. But the thing the Edge and other CURTO and Cine units also come with is an increased price. This unit, for example, it retails for about $389, so just under $400 for the single unit. So what we want to do here today is see if that Lexin unit that I was holding earlier comes anywhere close to this for a lot lower price. So if you go out to Amazon right now and check on the pricing, you'll find that the single MTX unit sells for about $159.99. Right? If you go for both units, that the dual pack that I got sent, well, you can get that for $259.99. That's about $100, actually a little more than $100 less than one of those CURTO Edge units. Of course, the Lexin MTX units come with everything that you need to put them in your helmet, including the speakers, microphone, and mounting hardware. So now what I'm going to do is mount that MTX unit in this helmet because it doesn't have a communication device on it right now. So I've got all their hardware pieces together, and let's go ahead and mount it. The MTX unit comes with one of those compression or clamp type mounts, right? And I was able to get it up underneath the shell of my helmet, so that's what I used, but it also comes with a stick-on version if you'd rather use that. Now the unit is held in place by this clasp that is on the mount. You slide the unit down and it clips in place. Now that holds very securely, but to remove the unit from the mount, you need this little plastic key that you have to insert between the unit and the mount, and then press to release it. So make sure you don't lose that little key. So I've got this unit now mounted to the side of the helmet. I have to run the speaker still. We'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to tell you about a few quirks that I ran into with this. First of all, this mounting bracket is made so it doesn't really press up against the side of this helmet. It doesn't really pinch it. So it kind of moves around a little bit. In order to fix that, what Lexin has given you is a couple of little rubber spacers that you can put on the back of your mount there. So I didn't do that initially, so now I'm going to take it off, put it back on, put my spacers on, to see if I can get it to pinch the side of the helmet better. So I installed those spacers and it is better, but it's still not too hard to move around. It still doesn't pinch the helmet very tightly. But I guess it's just something you're going to have to be aware of. Maybe it'll work better on other helmet models. This one has some ridges in there that maybe that's causing a bit of the issue. But anyway, got it on there. All right, before I put those speakers and everything in there, let me show you something else about this unit that you need to be aware of. Right, the charging port is right here. There's a USB-C port that is underneath this little black cover that flops around like that there. So that's something that, again, you need to be careful of. You don't want to pull that thing off so you can't seal it up. Secondly, I noticed that all of my USB-C cords that I have here at the house will not fit in this unit. I had to use the 90-degree cord that comes with the unit, and it has a very thin coating on the outside of it. Everything that I had at home was too thick to actually be plugged into the unit to charge it. So you're going to have that specific charging cord. And one more thing with that port is that I'm about to put these speakers in the helmet, and that is where they plug in as well, into that same USB-C port. So you're going to have this USB-C cord kind of hanging out of your helmet, and that it will then be plugged in to the side of your Lexin unit there. So here's a little tip on installing your speaker systems in the helmet. I use electrical tape. Usually I use black, but I had some white hanging around for this one. But I find that this works very well for taping those wires down to the inside of the helmet, and I don't have to try to cram them in little crevices and things. So now the unit's all installed, so let's power it up. Next, we'll pair the unit to my phone, and to do that, from the unit being off, press and hold that power button until it goes into pairing mode. Then go to the Bluetooth setup on your phone, find the Lexin MTX, select that, you'll be prompted to pair, and then you should find that it's all working. All right, so I got the unit installed, I got it turned on, I got it paired to my phone, and I was able to play some music through it. Now what I did was I used the big microphone that I have connected to my DSLR, and I recorded the same song from the PackTalk Edge and from this new MTX unit. And so let's compare them now and see if there's any difference. Now, when I was listening to him with the helmets on, I can tell a difference. I have to say that the Lexin MTX unit sounds pretty good. It doesn't quite have the bass quality that the JBL does, and you can't quite go up as loud before it starts, deteriorating a little bit, the sound quality. But overall, it's much better than some of the older PackTalk units that I've used. After I got this unit installed on my helmet, I took some time to set up both of them, right, and see how they work together. Because I was able to pretty easily get the Lexin MTX connected to my phone and then listen to music and so forth through the device. I wanted to then see how they worked connecting to each other. So again, they have a mesh communication, so by default, that's the mode that they're in, mesh mode. So unlike the PackTalk or the CURTOSEY Edge, right, you don't have to create a group with these units. Just whatever other Lexin MTX unit is around, it is going to pick it up and join it to the group. Right now, you have channels that you can use to isolate yourself from other people who are using these Lexin units. There are up to 10 channels that you can choose. So if you have 10 people riding with you in a group, for example, and you want to split that group into 5 and 5 to talk to each other, well, you could do that by putting 5 of you on channel 1 and 5 of you on channel 2. Right. However, if another group of people with Lexins ride up and happen to be on channel 1, well, you're going to hear their conversations too. So again, how often is that going to happen? Probably not very often. But you have up to those 10 channels that you can use to isolate yourself. And you got to remember that if you're in mesh mode, you've got to use that antenna. Even when you're using these units and you're in your mesh communication mode, you do have to click that M button on this unit, the one up front, in order to initiate a conversation. So just because you're connected to a group doesn't mean that you can hear or talk with that group. You actually have to click that button to initiate the conversation. Right? That's different from the way that the CURTOs work. If you belong to a group, just by default, you can hear everybody in the group. And if you want to mute it, well, then you can tell the device to do that. But with these, right, you're going to have to physically initiate the pairing or the communication between the devices by clicking that button. Now, I did find that I got some little weirdness when these things were connected. And what happened was I put them both in mesh communication mode. That is, they were both turned on. A little light comes on and it's green, indicating that you are connected and talking to somebody. And when I did that, then I hit the power button to try to turn the units off. Well, they didn't like that very much. Sometimes they would turn off, sometimes they wouldn't turn off, and they would kind of get stuck and I couldn't do much with them. So I found that the best way to make them work is to never try to turn them off when they are in mesh communication mode. That is, they're turned on and talking with somebody. Always turn that off first, return to standby mode, which is a blue light flashing, right before you try to power the units off. So another thing I wanted to try was to see if I could get that Lexin unit and my CURTO Edge to both talk to each other. Because now both of these devices support universal Bluetooth pairing. Well, at least they'll pair to any other device that supports universal Bluetooth pairing. Can't guarantee that they'll do that for every single thing out there. But these two units definitely will do that. I was able to put the Lexin unit into Bluetooth pairing mode, and then go into my CURTO app on my phone and put the PackTalk Edge into pairing mode on writer A and get both of the units to connect and talk to each other. And it worked pretty easily. So again, good thumbs up on both Lexin and on CURTO. Alright, so now I guess let's talk about each of these units, pros and cons. First, a pro for the Lexin here. Well, it's a lot cheaper, right? $160 for a single unit versus $390 for a single unit for this CURTO Edge, right? Huge difference in price. I guess it all gets down to what do you get for your money, right? Is this worth all of that extra money? Well, this unit is going to operate by buttons, right? Touch buttons that you're going to have to use. This unit, it operates by voice command. So again, much easier to use, right? I can turn the volume up. I can mute the pack if I want to, unmute the pack, turn the radio on, turn music on. Virtually everything that I need to control, I can do it from a voice command with this unit. Again, big plus. Second thing for this, you notice there's no antenna. All right, this one still requires an antenna. Again, big deal or not, I don't know, but I've known a lot of people, including myself, who've broken the antennas off of the old PackTalks. So, again, to me, that's a good plus. Now, sound quality, again, that's all, of course, subjective and really what you're looking for. But the JBL sound system on this is definitely superior. Again, primarily that mid-range and bass response that you get out of this unit here. This wasn't too bad, right, actually, but again, not quite up to what you get with the CURTO unit. All right, battery life, well, I think they're probably going to be about the same. I've gotten like 12 or 13 hours out of these, but I know other people who've gotten less, 8 to 10 hours on them. This unit here says you get 10 hours of talk time and up to 18 hours if you're just listening to music. So I think they're probably going to be pretty comparable as far as that goes. Now, another thing that the CURTO has above this is the mounting system. All right, the mount here works, but those little rubber cushions that they gave me to, take up the space between the mount in my helmet, well, they didn't really work all that great. And where they told me that I should be putting them in the instructions wouldn't have worked on this particular helmet. So again, I got it to work, but not the best. The mounting system for this is magnetic, and it is really cool and really easy to use. So again, another huge plus for this. So I guess bottom line is it's going to get down to, what are you really looking for? Right? Yep, this is going to give you sound quality, no antenna, voice recognition. It's going to give you that great mounting system. But it is also going to cost you like more than $200 over what this costs. So if you're just listening to music riding around town, or just want to talk to your partner on the back of the bike, I don't know, this might be something that you want to think about. Or if you just don't have a budget for $400 for one of these things. So again, it's worth taking a look at. It's worth, investigating and finding out if it's going to work for you. So I would suggest you go out there to Amazon and take a look at them. And again, make up your own mind, do your own research, and see if this is something that you want to take a look at. All right, guys, ride safe.